This is an interesting position that came up in a match that I had last night against a very fine player, and I am red on roll. I'm winning 7-3 in a match to 9. I'm 2 away. I need 2 points to win the match, and my opponent needs 6 points to win the match. I'm red and on roll. So, what do you think is the proper cube action here? Should red double? And if red doubles, should blue take or drop? I'll give you a minute to think about it. Okay, I was red and I doubled. And blue took, and of course he redoubled immediately. I had a couple of very bad rolls, left a couple of shots, got lucky and didn't get hit and won the match. After the match, my opponent told me that he thought I made quite an error doubling here. And I wasn't sure. It sure looked like it. The way it played out looked like I could have been in big trouble. Of course, remember, when the cube's on 4, if I lose, it's only 2 away, 2 away. I haven't lost the match. But I use a very, very strict process to decide on all cube action. The first step is, what is my opponent's take point and price of gammons? Of course, there is no gammon value for me after I turn this cube to 2. I lose gammons, and that's one reason not to double at this score, because I could get some gammons by just playing on and win the entire match without risking the cube being at 2. But what is his take point? And as I recall, it was something close to 22%, because he's going to recube right away. And let's just check that, make sure I've got that right. Analyze cube information. His take point's 22.54%. So the next step in my doubling cube process, let me just show it to you. The next step after you look at the take point and price of gammons, and knowing your own, of course, and on the recube, but here I know it's an automatic recube for him, and I know I'm taking, is I apply Woolsey's Law. I love Woolsey's Law. I ask myself, if I were him, should I take or should I drop, and what would I do? And in this situation, I ask myself, if I'm blue, do I have 22.5% here? And my answer was, I don't know. I'm not sure whether or not I should take or drop the cube. So that tells me, without very much doubt at all in my mind, that I should give this cube. And when I'm not quite sure, another reason to give the cube is I might get a wrong take or a wrong drop. I'm not sure, but if I don't give the cube, there's no chance that he's going to make a mistake. Now, there's another thing that was hovering in my mind. I had just given a presentation just a few weeks ago in Los Angeles about playing from behind. And let me just show you, I did a slideshow, and let me just give you a preview of that just a little bit. Slideshow from current slide. Playing from behind, this is in June last month in Los Angeles. And by the way, it worked very well for me in what amounted to the quarterfinals or semifinals. It was a little unclear what round it was. I was playing Matt Cohn-Geyer and losing 2 away, 8 away, and got lucky and won that match. But I applied the principles of playing from behind that I had lectured about that very morning. But one of the things that really stuck with me was a lesson that I gotten from Joe Sylvester, who I think is a master at playing from behind or ahead. And what Joe says is that people who are losing are usually far too aggressive with the cube. They usually are going to double too quickly and take too much. And people who are winning have a tendency to play far too conservatively in both their cube and checker play. So I wanted to make sure that when I'm ahead, I'm not going to be too conservative. And, of course, I also have to be careful of number 3, which is that once you're aware of these things, you tend to overcompensate. That if you know that you're being too conservative, usually when you're ahead, don't get wild and overcompensate. And if you know that you tend to be too wild when you're behind in the match, don't get too conservative. So you have to be just right. It's like it's the Goldilocks theory, and that was in my mind in this cube situation. So again, I was bitterly criticized by my opponent and by another really good player who was watching, and I was ready to admit I was wrong, but not until I put it into Extreme Gammon, and I did. And here's what Extreme Gammon says. It says that it is a double, a pretty strong double. I would have been making a mistake to double, and it's right on the borderline of a take. As a matter of fact, Plus Plus said it was a 6% error to take. It was only after the rollout, which still isn't quite sure because it's so close, that it's right on the borderline of take and drop. So clearly, I did the right thing by doubling here. I knew that my opponent wasn't dropping. In fact, I had a strong feeling he would take, but that didn't enter into my mind that strongly. What entered into my mind is something that Mary Hickey told me once: when in doubt, do the right thing. So I wasn't quite sure, but I thought it was right to double. Here's something else that you'll find interesting. Remember the take point? Let's take a look again. Analyze cube information. The take point for blue is 22.54. It's not a dead cube because he's certainly going to return the cube. So his take point is 22.54. He only has 21% here. With 21% and his take point 22.54, it should be a pass. Well, this is something that's important to know about Extreme Gammon. This is his percentage if the cube is not turned, because he has to be careful if we're playing at this point not to get gammoned. He has to be a little bit more careful in his checker play, because if he gets gammoned, he loses the match. But if the cube is turned, and we'll find out about that when I click on it, he does have 22.51. He has enough to take the cube, just barely. And by clicking, we now see what his winning chances are after the cube is turned, if it's doubled. If it's not doubled, his chances are 21%. After it's doubled, his chances go up because he no longer has to play carefully to keep from getting doubled. So this is, I think, a very interesting of the entire process. I'm not just showing this to you because I happen to be right, because I think those of you who have followed me and seen the positions that I've posted, I have often posted positions where I'm wrong as well. This one, though, I thought was just a great lesson that you're rewarded once in a while by doing the right thing. I immediately rolled. I came in safely and took off a checker. I think I rolled a 6-3 or something like that, and then I immediately rolled a pretty bad roll pretty shortly thereafter, a double 4 or something, and I ended up leaving a blot, which he missed, and I ended up leaving another blot, which he missed, and that's how I won the match. But again, that's anecdotal as far as how it turned out. I hope this was educational for you. I think there's a whole philosophy of when you're playing from behind and playing from ahead. Two-away scores is one of my specialty, thanks to John O'Hagan. John O'Hagan came up with a formula for when you are supposed to double a two-away player, when you're not two-away. And by studying that at length, I also studied quite a bit when you should double if you're the one who is two-away. And you should double right when it's very close. If he had just another couple of percent winning chances, it wouldn't be a double. You're not supposed to double till it's right there at the point where he might drop. In fact, it isn't even that bad to lose your market and wait a little bit longer. It wouldn't have been terrible for me to wait, because he probably was taking next time. When you're playing a human being, I might have gotten down to where he only had 18 or 17% winning chances and then doubled, and he might still take. So again, you need to play the person too, and that's something that I actually didn't do that well here. I could have waited a roll, and he was still taking. So maybe Mr. Genius here wasn't so smart to double when I did. Maybe I should have waited against a human being. But again, I was in doubt, and I listened to Mary, and I did what I thought was the right thing to do. And in the long run, that's the way I want to play backgammon, whether I win or lose, because I know in the long run that's going to make me more of a winner than a loser. Hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching, and thanks for your comments about these videos.